Welcome everybody to the Division of Military and Naval Affairs today. We appreciate your interest in what we're doing. We've got some heavy lifting potentially ahead of us, and the National Guard is standing ready. Move downrange and help those citizens of New York. At this point, what I'd like to do is introduce the Director of State Operations, Howard Glazer.
Thank you very much, General. And as General said, we're moving these troops today down to Farmingdale to Republic Airport. It's one of two staging areas that we've set up in order to pre-position equipment and supplies and personnel to be prepared both to assist with the evacuation and the post-storm impact, which we expect could be several days in length at least. We have a federal logistics team that we're now working with very closely that is going to be deployed to Republic Airport on Long Island today. FEMA is bringing in 11 trailers of generators to pre-stage down at that distribution center in order to be ready to be deployed there. We have on standby 20 trailers of water, 20 trailers of meals ready to eat, with the potential to increase that if necessary. These teams will facilitate, set up, handle receiving, distribution, and if necessary, provide for housing, feeding, showering, fueling, laundry, medicine, and security during the response phase of the disaster. These teams are self-sufficient, require little other assistance. As I mentioned, we're working closely with the federal government. We have also, as part of that team, the U.S. Forest Service, the Department of Interior, establishing that mobilization center down there. In addition, today the Governor is announcing that he will be signing a memorandum of agreement with the Department of Defense, and Secretary Panetta is expected to sign this agreement today. It establishes a dual status command for military response forces from the Department of Defense, which is also pre-positioning its own resources. And in order to ensure smooth coordination between federal and state resources, this memorandum of agreement will designate the governor and his designees as the joint command in order to have authority over active duty troops as well as the troops that you see here today. That will assist us.
Thank you very much. First, let me begin by thanking Howard Glazer and all the team of state professionals who have worked for days, literally, to get ready and to be prepared. General Murphy and the Guard, we thank them very much for their service and for their sacrifice. We will be deploying over 1,000 members of the Guard down to the New York City, Long Island area, Rockland, Westchester, and the Catskills, because this is a large area of impact. So we thank them very much for the sacrifice that they're making and their service. They're prepared, they're ready, they're briefed, and they'll be on their way shortly. Government has an important role in a situation like this. And over the past few days, I think we have communicated the preparations that have been done, the responsibility, the function. Citizens also have a responsibility in this situation. And I want to emphasize that today. If you are in an area that has been designated an evacuation zone, either in New York City or on Long Island, people should take it seriously and they should evacuate, and they should evacuate early, not late. That is their citizens' responsibility. If you do not need to be on the roads, don't be. Unless it's an emergency, you should be at home, you should be prepared, spend time with your family, get a good book, but you do not need to be on the roads once the storm really starts. So government is performing its function. Citizens need to be aware of their responsibility and their function also. I said yesterday that we're New Yorkers and we are tough, and we like to believe that we're tough, but we're also smart, and we don't take risks that we don't need to take, and we're prepared. So let's remember both ends of the They head out this morning for Long Island and New York City. General Murphy, thank you. All the members of the Guard, the men and women, thank you. Thank you for the sacrifice. Questions, comments? We made the decision yesterday to close the subways and the Long Island Railroad and Metro North. Why? For the safety of the workers there, and also to have the equipment in a position where we can get it back online, back in service relatively quickly after the storm, right? We're doing preparation for the storm. We're also anticipating the aftermath. So that's why we gave the early notice yesterday. That's why I repeated this morning, do not wait until the last minute. We have the evacuation areas have been designated. People should take it seriously, and people should act promptly. You know, Glenn, there are still a number of models, and we're preparing based on the broadest impact area, if you will, and hopefully we're pleasantly surprised, but we're still following the same models, which haven't really changed much from yesterday afternoon. You know, Karen, we're talking about that now. I'll be where needed and where I can be most effective. I just spoke with the Lieutenant Governor this morning. He is on his way to New York City. We have senior staff on their way to Long Island and Rockland and Westchester. And then back to Glenn's point, we'll see where the storm is hitting and where we need the most assistance, and that's where I'll be.
What additional steps are you considering today
You know, Joe, right now we've spent a lot of time getting ready and getting prepared. We've taken a number of significant actions. I don't know that you've seen the state government preparation point of view. We still have to see what the storm actually has in mind for us and what Irene's plans and intentions are and where the impact will be, and then we'll adjust accordingly.
Are you getting any sense that people are using evacuation normally? Are you getting any reports that people are staying put inside?
You know, Glenn, we're getting mixed reports. I think people have heard the message. And that's why I go back to sort of the attitude of New Yorkers. Yeah, we're tough and we can handle anything, but this is not a situation to be overconfident. And government is doing what government needs to do, on all levels, by the way. We're in touch with the federal government. We're working very closely with the federal government. You heard Mr. Glazer talk about the relationship and the agreement we're signing with the federal government. We've been working with local governments, but citizens have a responsibility also. And they have to take that seriously. This is not a common occurrence for New York. Other parts of the country, they live through hurricanes, they live through storms, and the citizens, frankly, have more experience and familiarity with their responsibility. And that's what we want to stress this morning.
One more, guys. You mentioned the restart of the transit system. Any sense how difficult that would be? People overwork, I know they should not expect a normal.
You know, Glenn, that's a great question. And that's the unanswered question. What kind of power lines are down? What kind of debris are on the tracks, especially on Long Island? What kind of flooding do you have in the New York City subway tunnels? This flooding might bring salt water into the subway tunnels in New York City. That is different than the freshwater flooding, different remediation. So that's a big question mark. Again, we're preparing for the aftermath, but that's going to depend on the severity of the storm and where the storm hits. Okay, thank you all very much. Thank you.